Okay, let's cook some steak and red peppers on the Jackery 300 with the My Mini Noodle Cooker and a 5-inch Lodge cast iron skillet. I just want to really make sure I point out that this is a tiny skillet. The My Mini Noodle Cooker comes with a 3.5-inch skillet, but it was pretty cheap and was scratching up really bad, and so I started to get concerned with that, and I wanted to find something a little bit more durable. This is just a shot of me when I was buying it. I got it from At Home for $7.99. I was just trying to compare it to a 3.5-inch skillet to see if the sizing would work well. It's called a 5-inch, but the cooking surface itself is closer to 4 inches. And the base of the My Mini Noodle Cooker is about 4.5 inches, and so it's a really good fit. The nice thing about the My Mini Noodle Cooker is that it does have a lid that came with the original pan that works really well for this cast iron pan. It's not perfectly flush, but it is pretty snug, and it should do the trick for my needs. Usually I don't cook with oil inside of the Jeep, but today I picked up some chimichurri steak from Sprouts. So to kind of protect the area from grease splatters, I put down an old bandana. This steak for me is pretty fancy. Normally I just cook regular chicken, but this steak is so good and I've just been craving it for a while. Usually I like to cook about 0.25 pounds with this size of pan, and I got 0.6 pounds today, but this was the smallest size that they had, so I cut it into 3 to make it fit into the pan. I'm starting with 90% battery, and this is the Jackery 300. The pan does get pretty hot, so just make sure that if you guys get one of these that you have some kind of pot holder. I use my bandanas. So right away the pan does start getting warm. I put the first piece of steak in at 85%, so I let it warm up for about 5% of the battery. And I don't know if I should have put the lid on. I probably shouldn't have put the lid on it, but it's kind of cold out today. It's only like 45 degrees, and so I was worried that the pan would just lose too much heat if I didn't put a lid on it. This steak is super oily. The marinade that they use is very, very oily, so I never really got a very good sear on the steak. I don't think that the pan gets hot enough overall for a good sear, but also I know that you need a really good dry piece of meat and a good dry pan to get the sear that you want. So I really don't know. I would probably try this with chicken or a different kind of steak in the future to see if I could get a good crust with this heat level. Also, having the lid on it probably trapped in too much moisture for it to get a good sear. So I don't know. I mean, overall, I'm not really picky. I just wanted to be able to have something that can cook, and I'm sure there's a bit of a learning curve with this. The pan cooks the meat very, very well. I flipped it at 79% battery. Another thing to mention about this noodle cooker that some people might not realize is that it cycles on and off. So every couple of minutes, it'll turn itself on and then turn itself off, turn itself on, and then turn itself off. I don't really know why it does that, maybe to keep it from getting too hot, but I mean, for somebody who's cooking with a battery like I am, that actually probably is a good thing because it probably makes it so that it's not draining the battery as fast. So the first piece of steak went in at 85% and was done at 77%, so it took 8% of the battery to cook one piece of steak. And for the other 2 pieces, I found that to be about the same. I think the second piece took 9%, and then the third piece took 7%. So overall, this didn't drain the battery much at all. And of course, don't worry, I didn't forget to pay the clover tax. She sat through this so patiently. So my overall impression, I wish that the noodle cooker would get a slight bit hotter for the cast iron pan, but I mean, it cooks it really, really well, and I'm thrilled. So 10 out of 10, maybe 9 out of 10, but I do recommend this. And after I finished cooking up the steak, I went ahead and sauteed some red peppers, and then I grabbed some fresh oregano and made sort of little crostini type sandwiches with the steak. And the bread toasted up pretty easily. I love keeping herbs in the Jeep. It just makes everything that you cook that much better. The cilantro wasn't great on this sandwich, but the oregano was really, really good. And so that's it. Thanks for watching.